Hey, Rick, are you ready? Okay. Okay, good evening. It is Wednesday, February 19th, 2020, and this is a regular meeting of the Montclair Zoning Board of Adjustment. Notice has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting a copy of the notice on the first floor of the municipal building and sending a copy to the Montclair Times and the Star Ledger. Roll call. Mr. Harrison.
Here.
Mr. Fleischer is excused this evening. Mr. Church.
Here.
Mr. McCullough is excused this evening. Mr. Moore is excused. Mr. Allen.
Here.
Mr. Simon is excused. Ms. Harris is excused. Mr. Caulfield.
Here.
Ms. Gilmer.
Here.
And Mr. Sullivan.
Here.
We have the minutes of the January 15th meeting. I don't have any changes. Does anyone else have any changes?
Just wanted to know for the record, there is a correction to the spelling of Ms. Cafone's name on page 5. C-O-F-O-N-E, not K-A-F-O-N-E. It's page 5, line 20.
Okay, someone who is here want to move approval?
I'll move approval of the minutes of January 15th.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Abstention?
Abstain.
Okay. And then we didn't get the minutes from the February 5th meeting, correct?
Correct, yes, I'm still working on it.
Okay, then we have the resolution for the MKA, which I may say we should defer, but let me give comments, so, because I didn't have a chance to compare it with my notes as to the conditions, but one of my concerns, number 3 on page 1, I think somewhere, somehow, whether we reference the plans or, which I think is probably the best way, where they're doing 30, 20, and 15-foot high fencing, because I don't want to give them free rein as to...
Well, we do reference the plans after paragraph 4 on page 2. And they include the revised plans also.
And I guess if we could tie the two together, I guess is what my concern is, that, just because they significantly changed from the original to the revised plans, and I don't want to...
Yeah, I mean, if we can do that, I guess, but all of the sheets are specifically referencing the revision date, so it's not like they're going to get confused with the old set.
Right, but if we could just add to 3, as shown on the plans referenced in the first whereas or something like that.
Just to create a reference to which...
Right. And then on that first whereas, did this meet the definition of minor site plan? I would have thought this would have been a major site plan.
That's what the application form said, but we can,
Yeah, I think it is going to be a major site plan.
okay, so we can take that out?
That's what the applicant submitted, but yeah, it should be major.
Because it has to be a major to do preliminary and final. And
Yeah, and the area disturbance minimum is 5,000 square feet, which by putting in the turf...
which they're clearly
Clearly
exceeding.
exceeding.
Okay. And number 8 on page 4, I would delete based upon exceptional topographic conditions. I mean, it's flat. I mean, there's that little rise that justified the fence retaining wall exceedance, but it's very flat, hence why it's being used for baseball and other sports. And then the now therefore again,
Right, I
to
saw that.
delete minor. Number 3 of the conditions, the beginning of that should read, prior to obtaining final site plan approval, then noise levels shall be. And then number 4, add baseball team after American Legion in case American Legion decides to go into other sports. And then just to make it a sentence, number 8 should read, the applicant shall comply with the tree ordinance. And then number 12, my concern, this is one where I wanted to check my notes, is I think I wanted native trees. It was my bigger concern rather than just adding trees. And then number 14, it should be the length of the non-conforming fence retaining wall, because after 113 feet, it becomes conforming. And they still have a small retaining wall going along the edge of the softball field. And then, again, to make it a sentence, number 15 should read, final site plan approval shall be obtained. And I'll just assume I'll pick up anything that's missed when we come in for final. But I think that pretty well encompasses it. Any other changes to that resolution? Someone want to move approval?
I'll move the approval of the resolution on Montclair Kimberly Academy.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Abstentions?
Abstain.
The first application of that is Jason Carlo for property at 344 Highland Avenue. This is an application to construct a new in-ground swimming pool. The property is in the R1 one-family zone district and is designated on the township tax maps as Lot 5 and Block 703. A variance is requested from Montclair Code Section 305-6B to permit a swimming pool to be located between the street on which the property fronts and the front wall of the dwelling. Are taxes paid, and is the notice in order?
Yes.
Would both of you raise your right hands? Do you swear to tell the truth in the matter pending before the board?
Yes.
State your names and addresses.
Deirdre Carlo, 344 Highland Avenue, Montclair, New Jersey.
Jason Carlo, 344 Highland Avenue, Montclair, New Jersey.
Want to explain what you're doing and
Sure. Good evening. Thanks for taking some time to hear our plans and ideas. Right now, we've got a tennis court in the backyard that doesn't get a lot of use and obviously has a lot of maintenance and time for the fact that our children don't utilize it all that much. What we'd like to do is remove the tennis court fencing, and replace that with a swimming pool on a small portion of what would be a new lawn. So where the tennis court material will be removed, obviously that would become the lawn. And then on the right side, if you're facing the area from the house, would be the swimming pool would be located.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, excuse me. What's the depth of the pool? Is there a depth on it?
I believe, so there's a standard, I believe it's 6 feet is the maximum depth. It would be a shallow end of 3 feet, and then the maximum depth, I believe, is 6 feet in the deep end of the
Okay,
pool.
6 feet in the deep end. And one last question.
I can
No, it's okay.
no, it's in the plan that
Oh, it's okay.
I don't know if it's on the plan here.
I don't have it on the plan here, yeah, on this plan.
Right, it shows you the size, but not the depth. Let me... Yeah, pool depth would be 3.5 end 6 feet. So the shallow end, 3.5 feet, and the deep end, 6 feet
Okay.
would be the max.
One last question. On Edge Cliff Road, I mean, you can see you will have a pool that you can see into, right? Would you think of doing something? I mean, I
So
don't know
you
if that's
you
your
really
property.
can't see.
Okay.
Because the hill goes up.
You have a Christmas tree sitting in.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
I was
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I took a look at
Oh,
it.
good.
Yeah.
It's a little late for the Christmas tree, I know. so
I
it's-
did like the look, but I see the resemblance of needing a pool. But
Yeah, so if you're on the road and look
gotta
down.
look down, okay.
Correct. So you know the,
yeah,
obviously.
okay. Thank you.
Other questions from members of the board? Okay, did you have a chance to review the memo from our engineer?
Yes.
Okay, so there are a couple things in there where he asked for testimony, at the hearing from you, if you have that, and be a little easier. On page 2, letter H, yes, are there any trees on the property that are going to be removed?
We don't have to remove any trees.
And then on page 3, L, he asks, are there any waterways, wetlands, or springs? And I was there,
No.
No.
Do you have any, is there any issue, sometimes as the slope, water will seep out, where you have what I will call virtually a cliff going down from Edge Cliff to where the property was flattened for the tennis court? Do you have any issues with?
No, fortunately, there's really good drainage that was installed prior to us purchasing the property. So on the retaining wall where the slope goes up, there's some, there's a bunch of kind of holes that
Drain
water comes
holes.
down, and then it drain holes, and then it kind of filters off to the sides. A lot of those don't produce any water. The majority of any water that's produced today is just from the top of the tennis court, and then there's drainage that allows that to drain properly.
Okay, and then on page 4, he has what are really conditions, 1, 2, and 3. Have you had a chance to review those?
Yes, so I reviewed additional technical comments, 1, 2, and 3, personally and also with my engineer that prepared the plan, and they're all make sense to us.
Okay.
And we obviously comply with all of those.
Any other questions from members of the board? Are there any members of the audience who have either questions, statements, testimony, anything you want to say about the application? Okay, anything further the two of you want to say before we discuss and vote on the application?
I would just say if there's any other questions, we'd be more than willing to answer them, and thanks for the time.
Okay, we'll start with Mr. Caulfield. We don't punish them their first meeting.
I gave her the warning, too. Thanks, Chair. I'm in favor of this.
Thank you.
I've said many times the pool adequacy that we have in this town is very limited in some way, so I can jealous in the sense of you getting a pool in that way. Might join it sometime down the road, but I'm in favor, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I took a look at the property also today. The only concern I had was the sinking of the pool, the excavation, and then any additional runoff that may occur from that happening. Is that being addressed during construction, and there's going to be adequate runoff down the driveways or out onto Highland Avenue?
Sure, yeah, good question. So during the construction phase, the pool company, as well as our engineer, obviously, will be working together. As I mentioned before, there's some pretty strong drainage set up today where there's multiple catch areas for when there is any type of rain. And that feeds into, in the driveway, a kind of main drain, and then that feeds down to the sewer in front of the house. So our, focus will be to maintain that. We don't plan on removing any of that drainage. There doesn't really seem to be any concern of, any type of runoff, because in the current state, all water goes into that drainage system. In the future state, with so much area being replaced with, turf, with grass, that'll be much more absorbent. So, based on that discussion with both the pool construction company as well as with the engineer, they don't anticipate any issue with that.
Okay, the only thing I had the problem with, not a problem with, but the only question I would have is the runoff problem with pools. So I would be in favor of this application. I think that there's adequate space. I think the putting in the turf lawn or seeded lawn is going to absorb any additional problems with water that may occur. So I would vote in favor of this application as presented.
Mr.
Thank you.
Allen?
Thanks.
I think it's all been said. I agree. I think it's a good idea. I'm glad to see some of the impervious surface being removed and you put in grass and everything in, and I'm sure you're going to have a good time in the pool. So I would vote yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Gilmer?
I'm also in favor. I think you guys adequately address the issues of drainage, and I think that the fence is also a good idea.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, I'm also in favor. I think, the reality here is the property has no rear yard and no real conforming location where a pool could be built. Because of the grade on the property, that the pool will be basically invisible from Edgecliff Road, which is the front yard where it's proposed. The conditions and the technical comments recommended by the engineer will ensure that drainage will be controlled both during construction and afterwards. So this will not be a substantial detriment to the public good or substantially impair the intent, purpose of the zone plan. And we should have the three conditions that are the technical comments of the engineer. Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the application as presented.
Second?
With the three
With the
conditions?
three
Okay. Okay.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Go.
Thank you. Good evening.
The next application is that of Noah Weiseneck for property at 17 Greenview Way. This is an application for a variance to construct in addition to the existing dwelling. Property is in the R1 one-family zone district. The property is designated on the township tax maps as Lot 11 in Block 4702. A variance is requested from Montclair Code Section 347-45B1 to permit a front yard setback of less than the required average of the four adjacent principal structures. The variance is also requested from Montclair Code Section 347-45C1 to permit a side yard setback of less than the required 6 feet from one side and 10 feet from the other side. A variance is also requested from Montclair Code Section 347-45C4 to permit a maximum building width for principal buildings of more than 65% of the width of the lot. A variance is also requested from Montclair Code Section 347-45E to permit a maximum building coverage of more than 25% of the lot. Are taxes paid, and is the notice in order?
Yes.
Okay.
Would both of you raise your right hands? Do you swear to tell the truth in the matter pending before the board?
Yes.
State your names and addresses.
Julianne Cecier, 175 Fairfield Avenue, Suite 4C, West Caldwell.
No, Weiseneck, 17 Greenview Way.
Mrs. Seer, you're still a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey in good standing?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Explain what you're doing.
Yes. The project is a two-part project. We're proposing to put a second floor over the garage and a one-story addition behind the house. We're here before you tonight for a couple of reasons. The first one is for the side yard setback. The existing side yard setback on that side is 5.99 feet, is on the first floor. And our intention is to step the second floor addition in from that side yard to try to come as closely as possible to meeting that 10-foot side yard addition and still maintain the look, the curb appeal, and the aesthetics that we were looking for. And so we settled on a 9-foot 2-inch setback requirement. We felt that was de minimis in nature and could possibly please the board as well as still looking appropriate from the street. It was the goal to add a second floor, but also to maintain proper proportions and character to the house. It is an historic district, although the house isn't quite a historic house. It's constructed in 1974, so we don't have many historic details to match. However, we did want to put an addition on that looked nice and looked appropriate within the neighborhood. So the addition goes over the garage, and we utilized a dormer in similar character with a shed roof as the existing dormer, so the addition would match the character and style of the existing home, not necessarily the homes in the neighborhood. There are other homes in the neighborhood that are much larger than this will be, even with the addition. And I think that even from the front with the addition over the garage, it will look appropriate in comparison to the other homes in size. The other portion of the addition is in the back of the house, and it does conform with both of the side yard setbacks, but it does then increase the square footage of the first floor, which is what now necessitates us to go for the building coverage maximum percentage for the variance, where the maximum percentage is 25%, and we are asking for 28%. But I think that a mitigating factor is there is an underground water retention system they have in place already, and we do intend on tying the leaders from the gutters of the addition into that system. So there will not be an impact on the neighbors with water runoff, storm runoff. Also, it will not be seen from the street either. So the impact of the addition and the size of the house will really be minimal at best and will not have a negative impact on the neighborhood. And I think the aesthetics of the addition, I think, will also benefit the neighborhood as well, and take a kind of a dated house and increase the value and the curb appeal, and actually be a benefit to the neighborhood as well. So
All
I
right,
have here
this exhibit that you're referring to,
Yes.
why don't we mark that as A1? And just describe what it is?
These are perspectives that I generated from my computer program, which showed the addition and what it would look like as if it was constructed. So this is A1. And again, with the addition, we're continuing the existing roof line, so the height is maintained. We will not be blocking any light and air of the neighbor any more so than, or I shouldn't say any more so, because there isn't any, from the existing roof line. We're maintaining the height of the existing roof line on the side that's most impacted, and we're stepping in the addition by about 3 foot 8 inches, because we were trying to be considerate of that neighbor on that side. This is where the side yard setback is. Another reason is we were looking to keep the new dormer centered on the garage to maintain some aesthetic value and some symmetry, and again match what's existing, or be as similar as possible to the existing dormer on the opposite side, to keep the characteristics of the home, and again not match any of the other homes in the area, but maintain the style of what's here. And then finally, I have a photo board, and I guess we'll mark this as A2. And these are photographs I took myself. There's 15 photographs and a Google Earth image that I pulled from the internet. And these are photographs of the the home itself, and then there's a few pictures of some houses in the neighborhood. And these are taken to show the existing style of the home, and then also other homes in the area, to show that they are either, it either will be closer in size to homes in that neighborhood or smaller still than other homes in the area, even with the addition. So it will fit within the character of the neighborhood, and I think that you could feel comfortable in granting this small addition over the garage without much impact or negative impact at all. And so we feel that the benefits of this addition far outweigh what seems to be a few negative variances that are needed, but I think once they're all explained and can be justified, I think that you can feel that these variances can be granted without any detriment to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Questions from members of the board?
On your plans, if you can get back to that on the second floor, there's a thing that's sticking out there. It says family. What is that?
On the second floor?
Yeah, on the right-hand side where your pen is right now. What is
Right
that
here?
thing? Yeah.
Oh, that's a little space underneath the existing roof line where they'll be able to walk out underneath where that window is, which is here, underneath the existing roof line. It will just create like a little bench seat or city reading area underneath.
And that's on the side that you're expanding, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Underneath the existing roof.
Is there a reason why they wanted that? Like, why is that a feature that is
Well,
like
it's
important? Is it a-
twofold. Number
yeah.
one is to maintain the existing roof height, and
Uh-huh.
number two is to let some light in from the side.
On the left-hand side that you have a picture there, there's no windows whatsoever on your left-hand side?
This one?
Yeah, there's no
Yes.
pictures whatsoever. That is on the right side of the house, is that?
From the street,
Yeah,
yes.
it's on the right side. But the house on the left-hand side's much closer, on the left-hand side of the building is much closer to the property line.
Yes.
So putting a window there, like that house might someday be knocked down in the future and build a two-story house on that. If we think about that idea, I just having, they're very close to the line, both those houses. The window in that aspect,
Yes.
I've not seen that yet, but I'll think about it. Back to you, Chair.
Other questions from members of the board? Let me just, on your zoning analysis, in terms of the front yard setback, you calculate that what's required is 35 feet, but you don't have a calculation as to how you determine that based on the two houses on either side.
Oh, so I took my Google Earth image here, and what I did was I scaled the image in my program. I use a program called Chief Architect. So if I take the Google Earth image and I look flat, I can bring it into my program and then scale it to the size of the site plan that I have. And then what I did was I took dimensions from the curb line to the houses, 2 houses to the right, 2 houses to the left, and took an average based on the picture from the Google Earth image.
Do you have what the distances were for the other 4 houses, or?
So I have originally, we had 35 feet on the zoning map, and I think it was
Yeah.
told it should be 35 feet.
So I think that, Mrs. Seer used 35 feet, which is the required front yard setback of the ROA zone, not the R1 zone. I think
Okay.
that's where the deviation
Oh,
came from.
okay.
The required front yard setback is 25 feet.
Okay.
Or the average, which you're about to
I
explain.
see, yes. And so the average now for tonight, I came up with 33 feet 5 inches based on the average.
Okay, so
Yes.
And so you're doing 35.2, or the existing is,
Yes.
and...
And I have
And
an-
the addition will be set back, well...
The
it's
addition
a-
is
a
going
little
to be the same
further.
as what the current
Right,
house is.
but that's further than the opposite side of the house is actually the part that's closest
Yes.
to.
Yes.
So,
The overhang on the garage overhangs further than that 35 feet. I believe the 35 feet is taken to the wall,
Right,
not
correct,
to the overhang.
right.
Yes.
okay, and can you flip that around to A1? So just so I'm clear, the covering over the deck, that'll be rectangular, and then there'll be a little triangular area to go to the back door. Is that correct? That's not covered? Or?
Yes, correct. Yes, there's two parts. One is covered and one isn't covered.
And it's that addition that's causing the exceedance of the coverage requirement.
Yes.
And where the side yard, you're actually increasing, it's non-conforming, but you're increasing from the existing building.
Yes.
Okay. Other questions from members of the board? Are there any members of the audience who have any comments, questions, anything about the application? At some point, we'll figure out there are a few excess people here, why they're here. Okay. Anything further either of you want to add before we discuss and vote on the
No,
application?
thank you.
Okay, we'll start discussion. Mr. Church.
Yeah, I looked at the property and the adjacent buildings in the neighborhood. The existing building is smaller than some of the others around it. I don't find any, I only can see it from the front. Let me take it right there. But looking at it from the front, I believe that the overhang that's going to create here, with the addition over the top of the garage, would not be a detriment to the neighborhood or to the overall plan for that area. So I really don't see anything that I would find objectionable. Therefore, I would vote in favor of the application as presented.
Yeah, I think this plan brings the home more into, let's see, it makes it more similar to the other homes in the area. It's a beautiful area, by the way.
Like,
Used to be a golf course.
I grew up 10 houses down. So.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right, good. Yeah, so I think it's actually an improvement. I don't see any detriment, taking care of the drainage and stuff, and I don't see anyone here with any comments, negative comments, so I'd have to vote yes on this.
Ms. Gilmer.
I see that the proposed changes are minimal, and I think that it would fit into the character of the neighborhood, and so I don't have any objections to.
I'm in favor.
So, I mean, going through the variances, I mean, they've demonstrated they comply with the front yard. The building width is not being increased. It's an existing non-conforming condition, and the addition is narrower than the second floor addition is narrower than the existing first floor, so they're not in any way worsening that. The building coverage, struggling a little with as to the justification for that. maybe I should just leave it that I'm struggling. I don't have a way of fixing it, and, I understand having the addition of the rear being, creating a desirable condition, so I don't think this will have a substantial detriment to the public good or substantially impair the zone plan. So, someone want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to accept, approve the plan as proposed for 17 Greenview Way.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next application is that of Getting Lagomartino for property at 33 Brookfield Road. This is an application to construct additions to the existing dwelling. The property is in the R2 two-family zone. The property is designated on the township tax maps as Lot 25 and Block 1705. A variance is requested from Montclair Code, Section 347-45B1, to permit a minimum front yard setback of less than the required 25 feet. A variance is also requested from Montclair Code, Section 347-45C1, to permit a minimum side yard setback of less than the required 6 feet from one side and 10 feet from the other. Variance is also requested from Montclair Code, Section 347-45C4, to permit a maximum building width of greater than 65% of the width of the lot. Are taxes paid, and is the notice in order?
Yes.
Would you both raise your right hands? Do you swear to tell the truth in the matter pending before the board?
Yes.
Just state your name and address, please.
Robert Lagomartino, 35 Brookfield Road, Montclair.
Spell your last name, please.
Lagomartino, Lagomarsino.
Douglas Oswald, last name spelled Asral. I'm a registered architect, and I'm here in place of Vincent Varela, architect of record.
Thank you.
Okay, want to tell us what you're proposing to do to the house?
Sure. Well, we have, it's a single family, and we have a growing family, and the house is a very nice house, but it has a limited amount of space, and we think we'd like to expand its usable space. In that regard, we believe that we can, there's a front porch on the second floor that we would find not very useful, and we'd like to move the front wall of that second floor forward. That's the setback variance. And it's in line with the rest of the properties in the area that are around it on both sides. And we'd also like to raise the roof slightly. It's only, I believe, 2 or 3 feet in that regard to increase the usable space up there. And then we'd like to move the back a few feet behind to, the kitchen is very small, so that we'd find that to be a great expansion to the kitchen and make it a much more usable space.
Yeah, what I see here is that the proposed construction is pretty much within the extent of the existing building, except for the addition out the back, but nonetheless, the extent of this, of the existing residence is not going to come out any further than any property immediately adjacent to it, in terms of any other building on any property adjacent. Also, the occupiable attic that's proposed is, at the moment, is not occupiable, but by raising it about 1.5 feet, raising the ridge about 1.5 feet, it can, they would be able to achieve an occupiable space as code requires less than 1/3 of the area below, so that it's compliant with an occupiable attic space. So in terms of the impact on the neighborhood, it would actually, the addition would make it look more like the adjacent homes. If you look at the photograph in the upper left corner of sheet PL-0.1, you can see that my client's house in the middle is got a relatively shorter stature than the ones immediately adjacent to it, and the proposed construction would make it seem more like the other homes.
However, it does remain, as we met with the Historic Preservation Commission, it does maintain the roof line, which is distinct to this 1912 home, though all the other homes have been, in the area have been altered substantially. This would be, even though we're raising it, the roof line would be similar to its original, like, what do you care, not steep, but a low roof, or a shallow roof pitch.
Well, yeah, the proposed attic addition is a dormer addition, shed dormer each side, but the peak in the front will be maintained so that the original character is maintained in the front elevation. If you refer to the zoning table, the building height, it's currently at 30.16, and it will just go up by 1.53 feet to 31.69 feet. So a modest increase in overall height to gain utility in the attic.
By expanding the usable space, we're also able to take a 1.5 bathroom and make it into a two-bathroom house then, too.
Are there questions from members of the board? Mr. Caulfield?
Looking at the drawing, you're not the architect of the record, but looking at the drawings and then looking at the historical, it looks like the changes were made to this new drawings that were submitted. Is that my understanding? Because the architectural drawings are
They were
February
made
something.
based on the changes
So,
with discussions. with the
exactly.
historical
So when I was
yes.
looking at that and reviewed it, there was 9 comments from the historical board. It
I
looked
think
like
8 or something, maybe. Not.
Yeah, something like that. But it looked like we've done 3, 4, and 5 were the ones that didn't look like they were done on that.
I don't remember
Okay.
those exact.
But it
ones.
looked like the majority of it had been completed.
Just for the benefit
Yeah,
of this
sorry.
conversation, there is a representative from the Historic Commission here this evening
Oh.
that can speak to that if you have any questions directly. So,
Just waiting for his role in the...
Yeah.
Other questions, members of the board? Okay, and just so the record's clear, all the variances you're requesting are, it's because you're doing additions, but the additions are not increasing the deviation from the ordinance, is that correct?
Increasing the deviation from the ordinance?
They're not, the deviation is existing and you're just,
Right, yes.
you're
yeah,
not making it worse, you're...
Right, we're going on top of something non-conforming and not making it worse than it is. Right.
Any other questions from members of the board? Any members of the public or members of the Historic Preservation Commission?
Would you raise your right hand? Do you
Or-
swear to tell the truth in the matter pending before the board?
I will.
Make sure the microphone is
It's on.
on. Just state your name and address, please.
Steve Rooney, R-O-O-N-E-Y, 165 Gordonhurst, Montclair. And I'm a member of the Historic Preservation Board. And I just wanted to say that we liked this design. We asked them to do some changes on the outside of the house to make it more conforming, and they did so. And so we're perfectly happy with the results.
Do you still want them to return to the commission for final review of?
No,
they're
not
set.
necessary.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I know you enjoy, like I do, as many evenings in the municipal building as
many as I
possible.
can. I'm on the planning board, too.
Okay. Any other questions from members of the board? Any members of the public who have questions or comments?
Would you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth in the matter pending before the board?
I do.
State your name and address, please.
My name is Pat Hunt. I live at 24 Brookfield. Hi. Remember me now?
I do. You're not because you're your son.
I know.
Yes, yes.
So I lived on Brookfield Road for 40 years. I live at the first house on the street. And I wanted to see the drawings, actually, but I couldn't go to the office and see them because I'm very interested in improving that property. So I wish you all the best.
Oh, thank you. I can always forward them if you want to see them electronically.
Oh, okay.
If you have a moment, you can always send it to me. You know
So this is 33?
That's correct.
Yeah. And it's been an eyesore for a long time, so.
Yeah, I know.
That's
This
really
existing
nice
or is it
that
proposed?
you're interested in raising
So you're going to
a whole block
So
of
that-
this.
You want to look at the
I know, of course,
elevation?
I'll send it to you electronically if you really want to see it on your leisure.
You can even take this plan set if you want. You can
there you go.
I'm good.
You can actually take it.
I'm going to recycle it right after.
Really?
It's going right into the recycling, so you can take it.
Oh, I didn't think somebody would come. Okay.
We did, Seth.
Yeah, very good, ma'am.
Welcome to Brookfield.
Oh, well, we also, we
I
lived,
know,
I know, yes,
There's
yes, yes.
people in Brookfield that rent and then buy.
No, we also own too. Because we,
I know.
thank you.
I'm saying.
You own that yellow house?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, very good.
So, anyway. Oh, yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Like that porch.
We can discuss it later. I know you did.
Any other members of the audience with comments,
matters to
questions,
me.
anything you want to say about the application? Anything either of you want to add before we discuss and vote on the application? We'll start with Mr. Allen.
I very rarely see an application like this where it just continues what's already there without much deviation. So I think it's been done well, and I vote yes for this.
And Ms. Gilmer?
I think that it's going on with already existing variances, so just for the addition, I think it'll be great for your family to have another bathroom, and it'll improve the appearance of the block, and on the recommendation of the Historic Commission, I think I approve of it.
I'm in favor of this project. Good luck with everything, and usually we don't see, just the way the plans were, and going to see the property, you can see what it's going to be. I'm excited to see what it's going to be and finishing it off. Good luck.
I vote in favor of the application as presented.
I'm also in favor. I think all the variances are existing conditions or just building on top of. They met with the Historic Preservation Commission and listened and revised the plans to meet their recommendations, which is more positive than a lot of people come here and have it all done for us. So, and I don't think this will, given the narrowness of the lot and the existing location, there's really no way they could expand the house without meeting variances. I don't think this will result in a substantial detriment to the public good or substantial impairment of the zone plan. And would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to accept the application as presented.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Go Bill. The next application is that of Joel Sackman for property at 97 Central Avenue. This is an application for variance to construct an addition to the existing dwelling and to construct a new detached garage. Property is in the R1 one-family zone district. Property is designated on the township tax maps as lot 3301 and block 2401. A variance is requested from Montclair Code Section 347-45D to permit a rear yard setback of less than the required 25% of the lot depth. The variance is also requested from Montclair Code Section 347-22A to locate an accessory structure in the front yard or taxes paid. And is a notice in order?
Yes.
Would the three of you raise your right hands? Do you swear to tell the truth in the matter pending before the board?
Yes.
Do. State your names and addresses, please.
John Remnitz, Suite 8, 105 Grove Street, Montclair. Joel Sackman, 117 Lloyd Road, Montclair.
We have two houses in Montclair right now, one we're about to sell. One, Lisa Hyman Sackman, 97 Central for the today.
Mr. Remnitz, you're still a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey in good standing?
Yes.
Okay. Want to explain what you're proposing to do?
So we've been living in Montclair for 10 years. We are committed to Montclair. We just bought this house on 97 Central. We're very excited about it, about the house and about the neighborhood. And we just wanted to do two things. We wanted to build a detached garage, place to put our cars. There's currently none. So they're just parked at the end of a platform, at the end of a long driveway. and we wanted to build a one-story extension with a handicapped accessible bathroom and bedroom for an aging in-law. And neither are visible from the street, and I think John is going to tell you that we went through a lot of efforts to try to make everything tasteful and compliant to the extent that we could.
Okay. I wrote something here. I'll just read through it quickly because I know where the last one's here. We are here tonight seeking two variances. Both variances we are seeking are created in large measure by the existing site layout, which is on the flag lot. Central Avenue. This lot is sort of buried and surrounded by all these houses. It used to be part of 99 Central, and in fact, the existing buildings here were originally the garage and outbuildings to 99 Central that were turned into a house later on that flag lot. The site is accessed from Central Avenue down a long driveway. The original buildings on the site were garages and outbuildings that were once part of 99 Central Avenue. Our site is bordered by the backyard. This is in your set of drawings, A003. I just marked it up so it would read a little bit better. We're essentially surrounded by everybody's backyard. That's the result of where we are. So it's what I drew in here. The closest structures to our site are garages, and these are the different garages. The closest one being right here at 95 Central Avenue. The first variance we're looking for is a front yard variance related to the proposed new garage. The house does not presently have a garage, and we're proposing to put it at the end of the long driveway.
Just ask you a question. That sheet that you're referring to, I don't see that as part of your submission. Is it in there?
Well, I think the colored location of the additional buildings.
You've added color.
Add additional details.
I've added color, and I've added color.
Why don't we
need to
mark
mark
that
it.
as A1, just so
Okay.
we keep our
Yeah.
exhibit straight,
It's
okay?
okay. It's the same drawing. I just highlighted things and put it. These garages do show up on the survey that you do have. Let's see. Because of the peculiarities of the zoning code, our front yard borders the rear yard. This is the flag lot. These are the setbacks in green. And by definition, this becomes our front yard setback, 25 feet off of this portion of the flag lot. It's about 200 feet off of Central Avenue. Right now, there exists a parking area, which in some of the photos you have in that set, you can see that you come down this driveway and the cars are presently parked in this little parking area here. We're proposing a garage right at that point so that we can use the existing parking area as a way to turn around and go back down this driveway. It's almost impossible to get down this. I've been up and down this driveway a lot, backing up. So we're setting this up so you can back out of here, turn, and go down the driveway. We're proposing that this garage is set 6 feet off of the rear property line of 99 Central. And it should just be noted that there's a garage, which you can also see in one of your photographs, that's sitting right on the property line, right next to where we are. We think the garage in this position should be deemed acceptable because its relationship to all the other garage structures around it. In addition, we think this garage will be an improvement as it gets the cars into a structure instead of sitting out on the site. The second variance we're looking for is now the rear yard variance. This is now the rear yard of our property by definition. This is where we are adding on a one-story addition. And this little triangular area is actually the non-compliant part of our addition. It sits into the rear yard at that point. We've made some efforts here in setting up this addition. First of all, the reason for doing it is there's no bedrooms on the first floor, and they wanted to create a bedroom for their handicapped mother-in-law. If you look at the plans we presented, we are actually doing a handicapped bathroom and a few other things, and we're actually doing some gymnastics in terms of what was used to be the old garage has a slab that's too high. We have to drop it. We have to get everything onto the ground at the same level. But this was where this ended up. We're only doing a one-story addition. This yellow line shows where the existing setback is for the house. The house exists right here, where this corner right here is equal to where we're bringing out our new addition. And the idea being is we're not getting any closer to that lot line than the house is right now. The other part of this is the house is oriented towards the center of the lot. The back facade, there are very few windows, and we're only putting one small window into our addition in the bathroom over in here. And that way, we're trying not to, we're trying to give privacy to the neighbor behind us. One other thing which sort of sets this up a little bit is there's an old railroad bed that runs right along here, which is about 8 feet higher than our property. So we're sort of sitting in a depression. So everyone's looking down on us. We're not building something that we're looking down on someone else. We think this addition should be deemed acceptable due to the orientation of the house, which is directed towards the interior of the site, away from the neighbors, and we are no closer to the property line than we are now. That's it.
Questions, members of the board?
Yeah, I have one. How wide is that driveway?
It's 10 feet. You can't get 2 cars past it.
Yeah, can you get a fire truck in there?
I
think you need 11 feet, but...
You know, I don't have the survey in front of me. There's a dimension on the survey.
That's a very unusual lot.
Sure is.
I would have to go with weird but cool.
It's weird. That's how we like to think of it, weird but cool.
But
Thanks for saying so.
I do have a concern about getting to that house if you have an issue, you know. And,
It is an existing condition, though.
I understand, but, you know, I've never seen it before. And that's something I've seen.
That doesn't
most
mean it
houses.
wasn't existing.
Well, there's other flag lots in Montclair.
Yeah, but this
It's
is
actually closer to Brunswick, the house is, than it is to Central at this point. If I were a fire truck, I'd come in, because look at this garage.
Well, to make
well,
good
I
friends
just,
with all our
you
new
know,
neighbors.
I used to be the fire chief, so I wanted to say that to you.
Mm.
You know, to me, I'd put sprinklers in, but that's me.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Okay, other questions, members of the board? Gilmore.
I see that the proposed addition kind of looks like it's up against a few trees. Wondering if you guys will be taking any of those down or what you'll do with that.
We're going to be taking about 3 trees down right in this area. The owner has said that they will replace. One of the reasons they like this is because of the park-like setting that's there, and they will replace the trees that they take down.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Just a quick question. On the survey, like on the right-hand side, there's a fence of the driveway. It's like on their property, like 14 feet. If they come back some other day and put the fence on the line, would you have trouble moving the cars out? Does the car go past that? Do you go past the Academ to approach fence?
Yeah, he's asking about.
I'm
the-
sorry,
I
what do you?
understand the question. He's asking.
With the
about
driveway, where are you
this.
going to put the garage?
He's asking if you need this little extra spot over
Yeah,
here.
does the cars-
If
yeah.
you move the fence over, right?
Yeah,
You
they-
need that little extra spot. You don't need it.
You don't need that? Okay,
Yeah.
the cars don't come out that way. Okay. Okay, thank you.
What she said.
I gotcha.
Let me follow up on that. Is there, in the little part where it encroaches on the neighbor's property, is it just asphalt, or is there something lining?
There's a curb there. The survey doesn't show a dimension of being, it actually shows that we're over on the property, their property, by a half a foot.
Okay. Just,
Or the paving is over, the curb is over by half a foot.
I guess, as an alternate approach, did you look at putting the garage so it would be a straight shot in? And
Yeah, we did.
so why didn't you do that?
We did look at that. We felt like, first of all, it's kind of
It's a
big
berm.
slope up there. But also, we felt that that's kind of the front yard. That feels like putting your
More
garage
of the
in the
front
front
yard.
yard. If you're in the house, that is your yard. I don't know if you guys walk back to the property or not. Whereas this spot to the left is much more,
It's already a
in-
backyard for someone else, so we felt like it felt more appropriate on that side.
it seems more inconspicuous here to the left.
But we did.
But your point about the pavement encroaching on the other
On the property line, right there.
Yeah.
The existing property.
It's just a half a
small-
foot there.
Yeah.
It also shows their driveway on our property.
Yeah, it's true on the other side too, good, where they come into our, their garage is on our
driveway.
property and part of
their
their driveway's on our, Montclair, exactly. We've been here a long time, we know all about the weird but, what did you call it?
Weird but cool.
Weird but cool, exactly.
You know, their garage doesn't encroach, their fence does. Right,
No, the
so
garage
it's-
doesn't. Their driveway is actually a little.
Right, their driveway
Yeah.
where, you know, where the fence, and I assume it's their fence and,
Yeah.
in the driveway. The other question, I'm just trying to understand the testimony about the slab adjacent to, what are you doing there just to make the floors line up?
Talking about
He's
the
just trying to make the whole
elevation
house,
of the
handicap
I
garage.
understand, I'm trying, is that altering the existing house there, or, I'm not sure what you're doing to have it all
Demoing the
level.
floor, the cement slab, and
Oh,
lowering it by
oh.
8 inches or something.
These are old, these are old garage buildings and outbuildings to 90, and as a result, it's all made out of concrete. The floor, the ceilings, the walls, it's all concrete, so this won't burn down completely, but it's all concrete, and everything's at a level. And this one little part of this existing structure is up 6 inches. It's a poured slab for what was a garage. So to try to get, say, a wheelchair across here, we're dropping the slab in that in order to get over to here. So it's an interior thing that we're doing inside the house.
Okay, so and that's not going to, you're going to be able to do that without impacting the walls going up, and that's going to...
We're going to be underpinning, it's all just wood frame, so
I have the
we're
same
able to do it,
question.
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from members of the board? Any members in the audience who are invisible, want to talk in spite of being invisible? Okay, anything further you want to add before we discuss and vote on the application?
No, I don't think so. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Gilmore, do you want to start, or you want to pass and wait till another month to?
I like that you will have a garage now in the front area, and also that, well, my only concern is that about the addition coming close to the rear setback a few feet, but I do like I like everything else about it, and especially, for your aging parent, I think that's good. And it is a peculiar lot, so I approve of this application.
Mr. Caulfield?
Today I learned something, a flag lot. I never
A flag
actually thought
lot.
about it, but after
That's
looking
the
at
pole-
it.
that's- well, that's the pole, and that's the flag. That's the
So
flag.
I learned something today. I'm in favor of this project. Good luck with everything, and yeah, I'm in favor. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Church?
Yeah, I too am in favor of the application. I think that the setup of the property is very unique, and I don't think it's a detriment to that neighborhood at all. In fact, you don't even see it.
You can't see any of this
from any part of Central Avenue or Brunswick.
Or Midland or Brunswick. Yeah.
So I would be in favor of the application. I think it's a good attempt to improve. Thank you.
Mr. Allen?
Well, you know how I feel, but I would be in favor of this. But I am, like I said, I'm
Concerned.
I know just about every house in this town, and I wasn't aware that was back there. So, I would contact fire and police, let them know where you are.
Yeah.
You have
Thank
a,
you.
you have
Thank
a,
you for noting that.
you have a handicapped parent, and, so they have a system where they can record that, so they'll know.
Yeah, no, I
And,
appreciate that. That
but
didn't
it-
occur to us.
But back to the zoning board stuff, I like the plan. I didn't realize it was a concrete building. That's unique, and not easy for you.
Not easy, yeah.
We're working
And
on
it's all, the garage floor is sloping this way, and the other floors are sloping that way. It's all very...
Weird but cool, John. It's
Weird but cool, yeah. I hadn't persuaded you that yet.
So, yeah, I'm in favor.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm also in favor. I think the configuration of the lot, justifies it. I think they're placing the garage in a logical location. Depending upon, other than placing it in what is in reality the front yard, there's no conforming location for it. The addition to the house, it's keeping the same setback as what exists. It's a little different. Normally, we're doing it, people building over what exists, but, we also have allowed additions going back in the same line as the house, so it's not a further encroachment over what's there, and having this triangular tail creating the rear lot is, an unusual, atypical situation. So, I think this, will not result in a substantial detriment to the public good or a substantial impairment to the zone plan. And someone want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to accept the application as presented.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Go enjoy
Appreciate
your
it.
new property.
Thank you. Now you can all go home.
Yes.
Almost. Probably have some other business.
Party business.
Ms. Gilmore, this is a trick. Do not assume you will ever get out of here this early ever again. This is just to give you a very false
It's outright
impression
fraud,
on
is what it
a whole number of levels of how our meetings go. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right.